Texas Southern University, my school. Ford is a five-time All-Southwestern Athletic Conference outfielder. I want to make this sound like when they was introducing Kobe this season. So I'm trying to make it sound like a Kobe introduction. In 2013, he was named to the All-SWAC tourney team, the SWAC Player of the Week, TSU Most Outstanding Hitter. Wow. I can't coordinate, I can't play baseball. And TSU Most Outstanding Hitter 2013 to 2014. 2014 named first team preseason All-SWAC team and received his fifth All-SWAC selection at the end of the 2015 season. That's all right, ain't it? In April 2015, Ford was the NCAA nation leader in stolen bases until an injury ended his college career. Ford is a local radio personality and spent time at KTSU 90.9, The Choice FM, and KCOH Talk Radio at 12:30 a.m. and KJOZ 8 at 8 o'clock a.m. He is a progressive talk. Ford is also a political columnist for the Houston Forward Times, the largest African American newspaper in the South. Wow. Ford is a 22-year-old TSU recent graduate with a degree in political science and sociology, while also being at the forefront of the Take Back TXSU movement, which was beautiful. He has been one of the main leaders and spokespersons for the Black Lives Matter movement in Houston, Texas, by protesting the injustices of Jordan Baker, Robbie Tolan, Trayvon Martin, and Sandra Bland. I got some more. That's pretty good. You can clap right there. Y'all following me now. That's pretty good. Ford is the president and founder. That's where I met this young man. President and founder of the Texas Southern Young Democrats. He recently announced he decided to run for an open seat in Texas House District 139 to replace Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner. Come on, that's pretty good. A good place to shout right there. I expected his mom to run around the room. Good. District 139 is the largely African American and Hispanic district, and with its 150,000 residents, 139 is one of the largest districts in the entire state of Texas. Jerry Ford Jr. would instantly become the youngest Texas state representative at 22 years old. That's pretty good right there. Ford is going around the state to encourage young people all across this state to answer the call to lead, because he believes it is time for a new generation with a new voice and a new vision to lead Texas. Without further ado, I want you to, if you can stand. I dare you to stand up and celebrate Jerry Ford Jr. Come to the stage, sir. Come on, everybody, if you can stand. Come on, celebrate. You can do better than that. Let's celebrate Jerry. Come on, you can do better than that. Celebrate him. Come on, even better than that. Keep on celebrating to the distinguished Jerry Ford.
Oh wow! Thank you, Willie, for that introduction. That great introduction. That's amazing. Thank you, John. Where's John back there? John Davis. Thank you so much for answering the call to take the lead and be part of this new generation of change. I went to Nacogdoches a few weeks ago, and I told a group of college students about we need to take the lead. We need to get more involved. And then he announced that he's running. So give it up for John Davis for having the courage to stand out there and to take the lead. Now, thank you, Anthony Collier, for being here. You guys don't know, he's one of the biggest reasons why we are now celebrating the second African-American mayor in this city, Sylvester Turner. Anthony Collier was behind that. Please give it up for Anthony. Thank you for the hard work that you guys have done. And I want to thank most of all my family and my friends and all the individuals who are out here today. Most of you who knows my mom. When I say this, you will understand what I'm talking about. But growing up, a lot of my classmates, a lot of people that I grew up with, we kind of describe my mom in a certain way and use a certain term, and we use it in a very positive way. And when we say that she was kind of a strange individual, and I say that in a positive way, you know how our community, we tend to change the English language around. Like now, the word crazy means positive, something good. It means you're intelligent, you're articulate. That's what crazy me now. So when I say she was strange, I mean in a great way, because the thing about my mom and what I realized at a young age, she was everywhere and at everything all the time. You guys understand? She was everywhere, always at the school, at every single thing that she could possibly be at. So this was an individual where she was, my kindergarten graduation, she was in control of that. She was the first grade PTO president, third grade PTO president, parent of the week, parent of the month, parent of the year. Got to fifth grade, she was in charge of the fifth grade graduation, And I knew growing up, I knew, I was going to middle school as the sixth grade. I knew a lot of the administration at Clyde Middle School. They wasn't really that excited for me to come to the school. I know my mom probably went around today and talked to you guys and probably kind of lied to you and said he was just a nice young kid and he was just quiet. And the thing is, I was in front of the grown folks because I knew how to act in front of grown people. I knew to not be in grown folk conversation. So when there was grown people around, I was quiet. But when I was in class in the fifth grade or sixth grade, I know Vince is over there and some other of my classmates, they knew I was a totally different person. So I knew when Clyde Middle School wasn't looking forward for me to come and cause a little havoc at that middle school, but they was looking forward to my mother because they knew that right away that she was going to turn the Clyde Middle School PTO into one of the top nonprofit organizations in the entire country, because she was that type of person. And to talk about my mom, and I learned so much from her being such a volunteer. A couple of years ago, Spring ISD, we had our 75th year anniversary. And what happened at this, they said, well, we're going to have an award show. We're going to have this thing called the 75 Heroes. So out of the 75 years that Spring ISD was here, they gave an award to 75 people who made the biggest influence, had the most profound effect on the district. So my middle school was named after Miss Stella Clyden Middle School. So Miss Stella Clyden got her award from Spring ISD, 75-year hero. I went to Thompson Elementary. Miss Dora Thompson, she got her award, 75 hero. And then by Pastor Michael Pender, he was the pastor of the church, and this was a time back in the day, and I'm kind of telling my age right now, way back in the day. That's when the church was the middle of our community, and the church was the center of everything. So the pastor Michael Pender, he had this award, and that was a time where we need to get back to, and that's what one of the reasons I'm running for. That was a time a couple of years ago. This was before the smartphones and the PlayStations and the PS2s. When we got home from school, Noel Josh over there, when we got home from school, we went outside. We played in the streets. We played until the street lights came on, and that was our cue to get inside. And it was a different type of community at the time where individuals will be so open. Everybody door was open. Everybody knew their neighbor. It was a different type of community, and we need to get back to that. But you had Stella Clyden over here, had this big school named after her, got her award. You had Miss Thompson, you had Michael Pender, and right between all of them, guess who else got an award? Sandra Ford got an award for 75 hero for Spring ISD. And it was because the effect that she had and the profound effect that she had on individuals. And one thing I learned from my mom, a lot of people say, well, I want to make a difference. And when people say you want to make a difference, you can't just say you want to make a difference, because making a difference is kind of spontaneous. It's not something you just plan. For many of us who learn about time management in college, you get your agenda and you write down how your day is going to be. You don't, we say, well, I got class at 9 a.m. for your athletes. Say, well, I got practice at 1 o'clock, and you write it down. You don't write down from 1:15, from 1:30, I'm going to make a difference today in somebody's life. It's just something that happens, on its own. So what I learned from my mom is what you can do, you just hope to make an impact on people at the deepest level that you are capable of at that time. So I have gained so much, and my mom has such a major influence on me and in my life, and this advocacy and a lot of things that I do that I'm being really involved in is built in a foundation from my mom. And she was an individual who just had all the time in the world. She was a real estate agent, small business owner, but somehow she found the time to always be up at school every single day. Everybody knew my mama. But I went on to high school and I became active. in politics. And the first time I had a run-in with politics, I'm kind of ashamed to say this, but I think the first time was when I was 6 years old. I was up all night kind of crying because I was rooting for this red team to win because they kept on changing the state of Florida from red to blue, and I wanted them to turn it red because red is my favorite color. So I was praying that George W. Bush was the next president of the United States because my favorite color was red. And I really am ashamed to say that today, but I had to get that out. But when I was 14 years old, I think I was in ninth grade, that was when Obama was running his first election, 07, 08. And this was a time where me and Capricorns in here, I think you know what I'm talking about, we have this big vision and it's a lot of ambition. So at the time, I was a kid who thought I was going to play Major League Baseball, be a Hall of Famer. I was going to play NBA, be an NBA, a basketball, be a Hall of Famer, be a football player, and then I was going to be an astronaut after that. And I really, really believed that. I really believed all that was going to happen. But my mama had some flyers in the office, and we had this black man on this flyer with a weird, funny name. The last name was like Obama. Me and my brother Aaron would make fun of him, call Obama your mama, or we said something about Alabama. I don't know where that came from, but we just knew Obama, don't take your mama to Alabama, because that's not a good combination right there. But even a kid who thought I was going to do all of this, I was like, there's no way in the world that this black man with this name Obama is going to become president of the United States. So my mama took me to this event they had. I think it was a campaign event. I thought Obama was going to show up, but we got there and me and my brother said, okay, well, we saw this on TV where there was heckling. Okay, we know what heckling was, but we saw these people heckling this candidate. So we said, well, we're going to go and we're going to see Obama talk. And what we're going to do when he talk, we're going to stand up and just start, we're going to say Obama mama, and we're just going to heckle him. And we was young, we was 13, 14 years old. But we wanted to see his mama. We was looking for Obama's mama. So we was there at this event for the first time ever, and this lady walked in, a proud lady, and we thought it was his mama. She had a little bun on top of her head, and all of a sudden everybody started to boo her. And we was like, why are you guys booing Obama's mama? And they said, well, they said, well, the lady is not for Obama, she's for Hillary Clinton. And I thought that was so kind of weird that his mama wasn't for Hillary, for her own son, but I found out it was a Congresswoman, Sheila Jackson Lee, at the time, but I did not know that at that age. But, it's interesting that now, 8 years later, I'm running for office in Obama's last term, and I'm running against an individual who ran against Sheila Jackson Lee. But going to bring this back to my story. When I went to Texas Southern University, a few months ago, I was leading the entire country in stolen bases, and I was preparing to get drafted or play independent baseball. But they say, the easiest way to make God laugh is to tell him your future plans. So a month before the NCAA tournament, the month before the end of the season, I got hurt, ended my career. But God works in mysterious ways, and it ended up being one of the biggest blessings in my life. I had an opportunity to get back involved in the political process and to be on the radio and to start to really write, and cover some news stories. So I had this advocacy passion over here, but I had to kind of put it away because I was focused on baseball. And when that blessing happened, I had an opportunity to get back involved and work with a lot of policy and work on the body camera policy and a lot of stuff here in the city of Houston. So a few months ago, a couple people came to me. They said, well, Jerry, are you interested in running for political office or something one day? And I was pretty sure they were talking about the student council or something. I said, well, I'm about to graduate. Let me think about it. I did this before. They said, well, how about something bigger than that? Something where you have more resources, you got a bigger platform, more tools. So I said, well, probably you're talking about maybe like chairing a leadership committee for the youth or something. I said, what about Texas State Representative? And I paused for a second. And then when I started doing some research and I realized that 24% of the residents here in Texas are the children live in poverty. You have 26% of the residents here in Texas are uninsured, and 168,000 residents are incarcerated. And it doesn't have to be like that. And when I realized that, I realized right away that it will take a new generation with a new voice and a new vision to answer the call to really change some things that's going on in our community. And we can do it. We're going to do it right here in 139. So the next thing I did what most first-time politicians do. I just walked around, so I talked to anybody who would listen to me, and just talked to everybody. I went to barber shops, beauty shops, and everywhere. So a few weeks ago, I had got my first yard sign into the mail. I was just so happy. It's right over here. It says Jerry Ford Jr. big and bold. I was just so excited. So I had class that morning at 9 o'clock. So I said, you know what? After class, since I'm so excited, I got all this energy. What I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna call anybody. I'm gonna go all by myself. I'm gonna go and block walk all by myself. I'm gonna knock on 1,000 doors all by myself. And then right away, I realized that knocking on 1,000 doors is not conducive to the legs of even a 22-year-old at the time. But I was out there and everything was going great, talking to residents and introducing myself to different individuals. But what happened next was really interesting. It was around the time where I think the younger kids was getting home from school, about a couple hours into the day. It was high school kids. And I was walking up to this door and I heard this sound in the house, and it was a familiar sound. It sounded like me and my little brother when we was in high school. It was somebody just causing havoc. And I thought back to my pastor, Michael Pender from Fallbrook Church, that Sunday. He said something along the lines of, it takes a village to raise a child, but you don't raise that child right, those same bad little kids can burn down that whole entire village. And I said, these are the kids he was talking about right here. So I walked up with a little caution. I got a little nervous at first, but I went up there because I said, 1,000 doors is 1,000 doors. So I got about 10 feet away from the door. The lady swung the door wide open. And she pointed at me and said, look here, young man, let me tell you something. Don't take this personal. I know they got you out here telling us folks to vote, but let me tell you something. At the time, I was carrying my signs still. I was walking like this all day because I was just so excited. I had my signs, Jerry Ford Jr. right across. And she said, let me tell you something about Jerry Ford Jr. I know something about Jerry Ford Jr. that you don't know about Jerry Ford Jr. Can you, son, send a message to Jerry Ford Jr. for me? I said, well, yes, ma'am, I can do that. I can do this. It's going to be very interesting. So she went on and on about how politicians, haven't done anything for her and this and that. And then she ended up getting around to asking me what was my name. She said, well, son, what is your name? I said, well, I'm Jerry Ford Jr. I'm running for Texas State Representative. And at that time, I saw something from a human being that I've never seen before. If you guys remember about a couple of years ago, I think it was in middle school, about 10 years ago, when you try to download a video, it will kind of freeze up, and across the screen, it would say buffering. You guys remember that? Well, she was in complete buffering mode the whole time, so I left and I started to walk around the neighborhood. And as I continued to walk around the neighborhood and I continued to talk to residents, they would ask me, a lot of people ask me the same question. They said, young man, I know you, I know your family, you come from a good family, I hear you on the radio, but I just have one question for you. Why in the world would you want to get into anything as dirty and nasty as politics? 22 years old, you got your whole life ahead of you. Why would you want to get something dirty as nasty as politics? And I thought about that and I said, that is a very understandable question, because many of us at many levels, we become really cynical about the political process, because many times it seems like the political process, especially here in Texas, becomes a business when it should be a mission. You have politicians where power seems to trump principle. And a lot of politicians, especially the Republicans, who are usually long on their rhetoric, but then they're short on their follow through. And so we get really discouraged at times, and it's okay for us to be cynical. So, we might vote every 2 years, we might not vote at all, but we certainly don't have any confidence that government is really going to make a difference in our lives. But I always believed that it was this other side of politics that was based on this very simple premise. And those of us who are Christian, we should understand this. And it's based on this premise that we all have a stake in one another. They all have a common and mutual responsibility for one another. That every child deserves access to education, to a world-class education, because it's a moral imperative and it's an economic necessity that every child deserves, no matter your race, no matter where you're from, your background, your class. Every child deserves this same right. And, that's the other side of politics that I think still exists. And that we are, in this generation, it's time for us to strive towards that. Most of you guys know my dad. My dad grew up on the south side of Memphis, Tennessee. A couple of decades ago, he packed his bags and he came down to Houston and started a career as a public servant. Now he is the